This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.
Not the clap. So funny. I might need a tissue. I need a tissue.
You want to introduce us?
No, we can't have this on.
Oh, it's going to be on.
I need a tissue.
Too late. We're rolling.
Oh my
They're
God.
listening. They're watching.
Oh.
They're probably laughing.
Oh my goodness, that was good.
They're going, what is she laughing about?
That's number one. You kind of reset your
Painful, tender to the touch. May also
same shoulder length, and the other.
Honestly, I have no idea.
It happens sometimes.
Okay,
Okay.
here we go. Welcome to a special episode, starting with laughter, of the Real Health Podcast with Brandy and Amir. I'm Dr. Amir Rashidian, a chiropractor, and Brandy Rashidian is my other half, and the one who laughs. I still don't know what happened that you were laughing so hard, but that's good. That was so
Laughter is good.
You should laugh at nothing because there's plenty of it to go around.
Yes. And that made me think for a second. Yes. Well, laughter is good. And then if you laugh hard enough to cry, it also is a toxin release because you actually release lots of toxins from your tears, through your
Is that
tears.
right?
Mm-hmm. Our family practitioner told me that.
I know when you cry,
research
those
it, 'cause
tears
I
have
just think it sounds
cortisol
good.
in it,
Oh, that's nice.
but I don't know if the tears from laughter have that. Probably have something.
Gotta
You should
have something.
analyze your tears.
Next
Anyways, the Real Health Podcast is brought to you by the Frederick Podcast Network and is found on listenfrederick.com,
Yep.
along with YouTube and Spotify, and really any platform where podcasts are aired. We like to bring you all the latest information on disease and illnesses and treatments and whatever else that comes in the news, and we discuss it, bring you our perspective from a wellness side of things. And our purpose and hope is that what we teach you helps you feel better, get stronger, live longer, and feel younger.
Yep.
Having said that, I say we jump right in.
Yes, I'm excited. 10 tips for being happy.
We decided
Well,
we're not able to
happily
get
85.
through 2 articles, so we kept it to 1.
Now I hope we don't go short.
Then we go short. I don't know. We've been going long, so. New York Times, 10 tips for being happily 85 years old. You know, I really think I'll be happy when I'm 85. Not that I'm not happy now, but I just thinking about it. I look at the future and I go, nah, I think I'm going to enjoy being older.
I think I have enjoyed every year a little bit more than the one before. I know a lot of people spend a lot of time wishing they were younger and like really memorializing their younger years. And I think to myself, I would not go back to the state of ignorance I was in the last few years. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like each year we grow, we develop,
Well, you could go back to any time in your life. What would you go back to? See, I could pick a few things as long as I'm able to come back to today. But if I had to go back and stay there and relive everything from that point back to today, I wouldn't want to do it.
Oh, heck no. I mean, I think it would be neat to go back and maybe see and have conversations with some of my family members that have passed. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's always things like, man, I wish I had said this, or I wish, I didn't.
Is there any
have
time in your life where you'd want to permanently be there?
Oh, heck no.
Like I was thinking about, we had this villa in Iran. This is before the revolution. So pre-1979. And so our home was about a 2-hour drive to the villa. We lived up north by the Caspian Sea. So we were 30 minutes from the beach. But if you drove 2 hours, you'd get to this town. It was kind of like an Ocean City type of place. Very quaint. And villas, no buildings, no like multi-unit buildings, all little beautiful villas, 3 bedrooms. So we had this 3-bedroom house on the beach. and we'd go there. Every once in a while, we'd get bored, like, let's go to the villa, and we'd go there and stay there for a few days, sometimes a week, sometimes 2 weeks. It didn't matter. It was ours. We could stay as long as we wanted
Yeah.
to. Those were really good times. Like, I remember riding my bike around that street, riding my bike all the way out to the playground, riding my
What town
bike.
was it in? Do you remember?
But the town was called Gezershar, which translates to beach city.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah. So, anyways, in the town we lived in permanently was called Sari, which
I've been
is
there.
up north as well. But anyways, like I always think about it, it'd be so nice to go back there. Now, when the revolution happened, the Islamic Republic of Iran said that no one is allowed to own two homes. You can't live in two homes, and so if you have two homes, we're gonna confiscate one of them. They did that. They took our villa,
So
and
sad.
in fact, we used to, for a while, we kept it for like a couple years. We would pretend we lived there, so we'd go there every couple weeks, and we'd open the blinds or close the curtain or put a cup of tea that's half drank by the window so they would think someone was here. And eventually they found out, and they came in. Military guard came in, literally treating my dad like a criminal. They beat him, drug him out of the house, and put him in jail because he owned a villa on the beach.
It's just crazy.
How ridiculous is that?
Should make us proud to be where we are.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So,
This is why I get upset when people don't stand for the national anthem.
yeah,
They don't salute the flag,
for sure.
and they disrespect the nation, especially the founding fathers of this country. It is, I'm telling you, if you've been to other countries, you know this, you'll agree with me. But if you haven't, go check it out. Do you know, after the U.S., Germany's the most immigrated to country?
Wow.
Go to Germany. It's not as good as America. I'm telling you, it's not. It's not. Pick any country you want. There's so many people. I'm gonna get off this horse. Never mind. We live in a good country, and
We
we're
do.
very blessed.
It's not
and,
perfect.
and we need to be
No country
thankful.
is, but we are thankful.
You can own two homes if you want. I mean,
Even
you would
more than
think,
that.
what's the big deal in that? It's a big deal.
It is.
It's a big deal. You can speak your mind and not get arrested.
Yep.
Do you know the number one country right now in the world where you cannot freely speak is North Korea?
Huh?
Do you know what number 2 is? Iran.
Ooh.
Iran is the second most dangerous country to speak anything negative about their regime or the government.
It's a little scary.
Literally, you disappear. I had in my elementary school in Iran, I would hear about this. Kids would go home, like we could walk home from school, and their parents wouldn't be there. They would just poof, disappear because they said something and the government said, we got to take them away. They're speaking negatively or wrongly about the government.
I remember when I went with you, one of the times somebody had said that there was a satellite dish on the roof.
Yeah.
And I remember the police coming in
Yeah.
and searching and stuff like that. That was unsettling,
Oh, yeah.
you know? So
Yeah, because you never know what they're going to do.
no.
They either
because they can do whatever they want.
they could
There's
fine you,
no-
they could rip out the satellite dish and take it away, or
Right.
they could put you in jail.
Yeah,
They
like
can do whatever they want.
as corrupt as I think our judicial system can be, at times, and for certain individuals, and maybe in certain regions.
It's nowhere as bad as
It's
anywhere else.
Correct. So
Let's be grateful. So, speaking of that, this is the
how did
country
we
you
get on
want.
that topic? I don't
You
know.
want to be 85 years old, you want to do it in this country, trust me.
Oh, you were saying that's the time you'd want to go back to,
Yeah, before the revolution in Iran.
but
was
you don't want to have to live back through the revolution.
No, so that's the thing. Is if we could, be us,
Yeah.
the age we are today, but go to Iran and spend another week in that villa.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
This is like one of my favorite topics, which is time travel.
And we had like our routine, wake up, have breakfast,
Yeah.
go to the beach. There was the ice cream place you stop at, and then we'd come back and we'd fly a kite and we'd play cards,
Take a nap.
go for a bike ride. It was just relaxing and fun and enjoyable. And anyways, I'm grateful to have had that.
Yeah. Well, we can do that with our kids too.
That's right. So this gentleman's name is Rosenblatt. He's the author of a book called Rules for Aging. He's written other books as well. It said, it took me 85 years to learn these things, but I believe they're applicable at any age. So he gives you 10 things, 10 tips for being happily 85 years old. Number one, he says, nobody's thinking about you.
I loved this first statement.
Yeah. It says nobody ever will. Not your teacher, not your minister, not your colleagues, not your shrink, not a soul. It can be a bummer of a thought, but it's also liberating. That time you fell on your butt in public, that dumb comment you made at dinner last week, that brilliant book you wrote, no one is thinking about it. Others are thinking about themselves, just like you.
I mean, I cannot tell you how many times, because I'm a very direct communicator. So I don't always, I rarely sugarcoat things. I'm rarely flowery. That's just not who I am. So in that, I run the risk of offending people because I'm super direct. And I don't enjoy flowery conversations. Just give me the meat of it and let's be done and move on to the next conversation, or the next, especially depending on what the conversation is. So this was so liberating for me because I spend a lot of time going, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I probably offended them. Should I go back and apologize? How should I address that? I don't want to offend them again. Is it better to call, or is it better?
Let me tell you,
I get stuck in that.
nobody's thinking about you.
I know. I love that. You can think about me.
I do. I think about you.
Thank you.
I think about you a lot. Number 2, make young friends.
We're so good at that.
That's fun, right?
Well, do you remember there was a time when we were the younger friend?
That's right.
Do you remember that?
We have older friends.
Well, we do, but
everybody we hung out with was like 10 years
was
older than us.
And now we still have our older friends.
We have some
because
older
most of
friends.
them get adjusted and they stay healthy. And so they're doing well.
Yeah.
And then
we have younger friends.
A lot of younger friends. And it is really fun.
Yeah, it's funny. Like some of them haven't even turned 40 yet. And they're like, oh, wow.
I know. And here's the odd part. They love hanging out with us too.
We're young at heart.
Well, we did say we would never grow up.
It says there's nothing more energizing than the company of the young.
Agreed. They're bright, enthusiastic, informative, and brimming with life. And they do not know when you're telling them lies. Love it.
This guy's funny. Number 3, try to see fewer than 5 doctors.
I loved this one too. This actually is very poignant.
Where is he prejudiced against doctors?
No,
does he include chiropractors in that?
No, he doesn't. But he has like multiple people in his family that are doctors.
Yeah, he said I have more doctors than I ever thought possible.
Each one specializing in an area of the body that I had been unaware existed. How true is that?
Well, it's no one's thinking about you, and no one's thinking about their kidneys until they fail.
That's really too.
No one's thinking about their liver until it malfunctions.
That's right.
No one's thinking about their brain. Currently, there are 7 doctors in his family, with one grandchild in medical school. It's not the doctors I dislike. Rather, it's the debilitating feeling of moving from one to another like an automobile on an assembly line. If the end product were a Lamborghini, I'd be fine. But I'm a Studebaker.
I can see the video now. I'm sure we're going to see a Lamborghini and a Studebaker on this.
He says, I know all these doctor visits are prudent and inevitable, but when one's social life consists of Marie, who takes my blood, and an MRI technician named Lou, it's hardly a good sign.
Now, I will say he probably has not been to a chiro because
exactly.
He says, I know all these doctor visits are prudent and inevitable. But my question is, are they? Are they inevitable? If you stop doing what everyone else is doing and do something different for your health, then maybe it's not so inevitable.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Chicago Tribune reported on a study where they used chiropractors as the primary care doctor, and medical costs, all medical expenses were cut by between 50 to 75%, depending on the category. Like drug use, surgeries, doctor's visit, everything got cut. And there was another study on Medicare where they had Medicare patients, so people on Medicare, visit a chiropractor once a month, and they found that the cost of Medicare expenses on those people were cut in exactly half. It was less than $400.
Right.
Less than $4,000 a year. Their medical expense versus
Right.
$8,000 a year.
So then you have to ask yourself, why would they not want that? Because it also, part of it is it increased longevity.
Helps them live longer. So my guess is if it costs them money to keep you alive, then they don't want you to live a long life. And so that's probably why they say nothing good about, or I don't know, that they don't promote things that promote longevity, because
Well,
they're
yeah.
like, well, we need population control,
Right.
which is very sad, because I think there's plenty of space on this earth. Anyways, moving on. Number 4, you remember the first 3? It's no one's thinking about you, make young friends, and try to see fewer than 5 doctors.
I love it.
Sometimes, like nowadays, because you don't have that connection with the doctor anymore, every time you go to the same practice, you see a different doctor for the same thing.
Yeah.
And then you have to re-explain everything
Oh my gosh.
and answer
hope
the same
that
questions.
they've read the chart
They
properly.
haven't.
I know they haven't.
They don't read the chart. They send the nurse to ask you those questions, and then they come in and ask you the same questions.
Like they don't believe what was just said.
Number 4, get a dog.
So cute.
It's true. Dogs are rarely trouble. Well,
Depends on the dog and the age.
they take more naps than you do.
That is 100% true.
And they listen to you intently.
That is very true.
Care not about their motives. No creature on earth will ever find you more fascinating than your dog does.
That is also true. That, especially in our case, our dog is so attached to me. Annoyingly so most of the time.
Yeah.
But then last night we were finishing up watching King David, which was really fun.
House of David.
House of David, sorry. And we both looked over, and she's sitting on the couch next to you, which she never does, because I do not like her being on the couch. And like
She's big.
yeah, she's
So,
like 70
Like,
pounds.
she takes up the whole couch.
So
but-
she like
or half the
creepily
couch.
like got up there. I don't even where neither one
we
of us
don't know how she
noticed
got
it.
up there, but she like slithered onto the couch, and next thing I know, she's like curled up next to me.
So funny. That dog.
There's no room on your couch, that's why.
It's deliberate.
Anyways, get a dog. That's number 4. Number 5, don't hear the cheers.
Oh, I love this
It's
one.
really good. Yeah, it's really good. Pay no attention to those accolades. Just proceed to live the life you're living, giving it whatever it requires.
And he says this applies at any age. So this can be something that should be applicable to all of us.
Absolutely. I agree with that. So he gives a story about Bill Russell, the great Boston Celtic center, who was responsible for many of the Celtics NBA championships. He used to be booed every night by the racist Boston crowd. The league's greatest player was booed. One day, his little girl said to him, "Daddy, how can you stand all the booing?" He replied, "I don't hear the boos because I don't hear the cheers."
Man, this was so impactful because I don't know if it was a month or two ago, one of my favorite podcasters, he's a faith-based, has a faith-based podcast. And he said, when things are not going well and you're constantly beating yourself up about failure and it's creating anxiety and depression and all of that, that's you taking credit for all the bad things that are happening. And I'm not saying as humans, we don't make bad decisions sometimes, which have natural consequences, right? That is true. But if you can't pull yourself out of that and go, okay, I made a bad decision, let's do something different. But if that leads to high levels of anxiety and depression, the challenge with that is, especially from like a biblical perspective, is that if you get to the top, if you are in a big place of leadership or success in business or whatever the case may be, you will have a higher tendency to take credit for that success, which doesn't belong to you either. Right? So if you're
Right.
going to take credit at the bottom, the odds are you'll take credit at the top. And then you may not get blessed with that success because God doesn't know if you can handle it. I think that's pretty cool.
I agree. It says just do the work. Do your work. Keep your head down. Do your work. Don't worry about what people are saying.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6. We're halfway through. Everyone's in pain. That's very true.
Yeah, it is very true.
If you didn't know that before, you know it now. Everyone's in pain. If you need an excuse for being kind, start with that.
Yeah. And we need more kindness in this world.
I agree.
I'm working on that myself.
Compassion.
Oh, it's huge.
And you don't know what people are dealing with because
Oh, yeah.
you think you know, but you don't.
You
So
don't.
don't ever pretend you know what someone else is going through. Just say, I can imagine, but don't say, I know what you're going through.
Right.
Because you don't. There's no, two people can be experiencing the same thing, but they'll handle it differently too. So, someone will lose a loved one. If you've lost a loved one, you may be saying to them, well, I know what that's like. I got through it. You'll get through it. No, everyone's different. And they all have their own pain and they all deal with that pain differently.
Right.
Number 7, listen for Bob Marley.
I love Bob Marley.
So I didn't understand this one. He says, you have more free time to observe and appreciate the world these days. So do it. So I get that part. You're older. Maybe you don't have as many responsibilities. You don't have little kids anymore. You have some free time to sit around, observe the world, and appreciate it.
And I think it's appreciating like the people around you too, like taking a moment, because he tells a story about going and walking his dog every morning at 4 a.m. and the doorman Miguel, opens the door for him every time and like watches to make sure where he's going, and Miguel's a big guy, 6'5", and waits for their safe return. And then one morning he was coming out of the elevator and he heard someone singing One Love by Bob Marley. And it wasn't Bob Marley's voice, but something of its own, it says. And so he thought the voice must be a recording. It was really beautiful. And but there was no instrumental accompaniment. So when he saw Miguel, he said, "Did you hear that singing?" And Miguel blushed and turned his big face to the side. And he said, "That was me. I'm sorry. I didn't know anyone was here." And he said, "Don't be sorry. You have a beautiful voice." So I just thought that was really nice, because if we are paying attention, if we take the time to pay attention and just appreciate what's going on around us sometimes, and then he takes it a step further and comments about it, not even knowing it was that guy. The encouragement that he's able to give, I think is so great. I think you don't know what Miguel might have been going through. He may have needed that encouragement and whatnot. And now he's going to be encouraged to maybe sing again. And who knows who that might impact positively.
There's a lot more to this story too, because someone might say he's just a doorman.
Oh,
But he watched after him at 4 a.m.
yeah.
every day to make sure he came home safe with his dog.
Yeah.
That's a powerful thing. You have that.
Huge.
If you're a doorman, you have the ability to impact lives in a big way. Doesn't matter what the occupation is. And then if you have a doorman opening doors for you on a regular basis, find out who that person is. Give him some love, give him some respect, give him some kindness. That's a big one too.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a Bob Marley in them. It may not be their voice, but everyone's talented. Every person
Has value.
Has not only that, they have unique abilities that no one else has.
I
No
agree.
one else, because God doesn't make two people identical.
Mm-mm.
Even identical twins are different.
Yeah.
They have different gifts, talents, and abilities. So there's things you can do that no one else on the planet can do. How cool is that? You are literally the Michael Jordan of your talent.
Yes.
The best in the entire world. Not a single person in the universe
Yep.
is like you. You're a world champion. Value that and see that in others too, especially if it's a doorman
Yeah.
named Miguel. You remember our Miguel?
Which one?
We had a Miguel.
Mm.
He used to clean for us,
Yes.
and he wasn't a big 6'5". He was probably 5'5".
Yeah. He was so sweet.
Smaller guy, kind, nice young man. And our first office was in a bank, a former bank, and it had a bank vault. You remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Had a bank vault, and
Downtown Frederick.
and it had bars on this door, and the door like could magnetically shut, and we didn't tell him don't shut the door.
Because we didn't think it would lock.
We didn't
I
have
don't
a
think
key.
we knew either.
So it's our first day opening the office. So we were in there at like 2 a.m. Finally, the construction's done. We're cleaning, getting the office ready because we're opening our first day, grand opening. That next
Miguel is
morning,
helping us.
8 a.m. Miguel's in the vault vacuuming, and like an hour passes and we can't find him. We don't know where he is. We're like, where's Miguel? We find out he's behind the bars. He shut the door
On accident when he
and
was
it's
vacuuming.
locked. And he wasn't saying anything. He just stood there.
And he was petrified.
He was scared. Yeah, he was scared. He thought he was gonna spend the rest of his life
And
behind
rightfully
bars.
so, because we had no way to get him out. Oh my gosh, poor guy.
Yeah.
He
so
did eventually. There was a toolbox in there, and he did get himself
well,
out. But,
we handed him some screwdrivers.
but it
through
took
the-
a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had to dismantle the
Sorry,
whole door.
Miguel.
Oh yeah. Well, I wonder where he is. That's our
Hope
Miguel.
he's well wherever he is.
Join a gang.
This
That's
was
number
fun
8.
too.
We have a gang.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of. You could think our family's a gang too. I mean,
hmm
the Rashidian gang.
Yeah.
We got the gangly gang member. Anyways, this advice is meant for men more than women because women are always part of one group or another. The value of socializing comes to women naturally, which is why the world would be better if women ran it. What do they mean by ran it? Anyways, men, on the other hand, are solitary, static things. Generals without wars, astride iron horses. That's funny. They don't band together naturally, but they ought to, especially when too much solitude leads to self-conscious gloom. Join a gang. That's what I say. I do not mean a motorcycle gang, simply a group of guys who share an interest. My own gang is the Meatheads named for our collective tasteless interest in terrible movies. I want to join his gang.
Yeah, we love movies.
There are 7 or 8 of us. How does he not know how many there are?
I know. I was like,
That's kind of weird.
there's
I'm like,
one guy that they don't care about as much.
Yeah,
or
like,
he's
we
only
don't-
there part of the time.
yeah. So whoever that one guy is, you come hang out with us.
If you don't know who it is, it's you.
Yeah. 7 or 8 of us, artists mostly, and we've been together some 40 years. Grown men in name only. We sit in the front rows of the theater, throw popcorn and junior mints at one another. The mints can sting. And make noisy comments during the show, which doesn't endear us to the other patrons. Though, during one clunker, a woman told me she'd rather hear us than the actors.
That's hilarious. Kind of reminds me of us, agreeing never to grow up.
Number 9, no regrets, or on regrets. What is it? Should that say no regrets?
I don't know.
The article says on regrets, but I think it means it's probably
Yeah.
a typo.
Yeah.
We found a typo. New York Times. I don't know if you're watching, but there's a big typo. It should say no regrets. It says they're part of life. Learn to live with them. Oh, so maybe it is on regrets.
Huh.
On regrets. I don't know. That's a tip.
And number 10.
10. Start and end every day by listening to Louis Armstrong. West End blues or anything, really. I won't tell you why, but you'll thank me.
My kids like to listen to Forrest Frank. Every time we get in the car, every time they're home, eating a meal, Forrest Frank is on.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. We went to his concert and it was really good.
yeah. They've started doing the dances. So, that's fun.
Yeah. Music's powerful.
It is.
So yeah, pick somebody.
Well,
listen to
especially
them.
at the right frequencies, right?
Yeah.
Just like there is music that is not going to be positive. So if you're listening to something and it makes you feel angry, it makes you feel sad, it makes you feel depressed, there's a reason for it. It's typically deliberate.
Yep.
So if you're listening to something that makes you happy, that's what you should be listening to, because that's going to change the whole state of your being.
Listen to the song Happy. That's a good song.
Yeah.
I like that song. Well, there you have it. how to be happily 85 years old. And we will be back in just a few days. So take care and God bless.
See you next time.
This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.